Oh, man.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Hey, everybody. It's the Jimmy Doane Show. And we're live. Can you tell?
Yeah, you're going to be able to tell today with this spot on my shirt.
Makeup!
Yeah, makeup.
Wardrobe. Where's wardrobe when you need them? So, anyway, this is the Jimmy Doane Show, which means it's 4 o'clock. Greenwich Mean Time, minus 5 hours. Here on the Jimmy Doane Show Facebook channel. We do this twice a week, Wednesdays and Sundays, for your viewing and infotainment. So join us here anytime. Feel free to share with your friends. We're not picky about copyrights.
Yeah, no.
So today is the 16th day of October, and I am here with Jimmy, who has just painted himself up a little bit.
No, it doesn't show.
No, you can't see much. Yeah, you can totally see it.
No, not really. I just spilled coffee on myself, so, that's good. Good, thank you for
Do
the
I need to
coffee.
make another cup there?
No,
Is it
no,
too hot or what?
No, it is sloppy. I'm sloppy, that's all. I'm trying to recover from last night's drinking. So, okay, what about, now, I guess the big news, although I don't really want to talk about that much unless you have something, is the debate.
Well, I didn't watch it because I couldn't find it on YouTube in complete format.
Really?
But yeah, they had the old debate, the last debate, everything, but not this new. I mean, everything, it was all analysis, all the hits. And I did look at some of the analysis, and there were a couple of points that I did want to bring out, just real briefly. We want to touch on a couple of the candidates.
Okay, go ahead, because I watched. I also, as you did, I watched it a little bit over at the gym. When I was over at the gym, it was on. Mm-hmm. The problem was they had, there was the chyron at the bottom that was doing stuff, but what they were saying was in little tiny print, and I'm just a little too far away to see what they were saying, but you could see back and forth and everything. But anyway, so what did you,
okay,
I heard some stuff. What did you hear?
Yeah, so here were my takeaways. Harris is proving herself to be terrible still.
Really?
Yeah. She came. Her big push.
Didn't Scott come out and say she really improved?
Yes.
Okay.
And his.
So we're talking about Scott Adams here.
Yes.
From Dilbert.
Yes. And
he said she made the two big improvements.
Right. What she did is she tweeted something out which he thought was strategic, and that was a suggestion that Twitter ban Donald Trump.
Right.
Well, I didn't think it was strategic. I thought this was what I still think it is, which is something that she personally came up with. And she's pushing because she really thinks it's an actually good idea.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of showed that way in the debate last night. The little snippets that I saw had her pushing on that issue several times, which, I can't imagine somebody advised her that was the biggest important. Like, if you get a few seconds, get in on the Twitter argument. Get on the Twitter thing. People will really gravitate towards that. No.
Well,
no.
they did.
Well.
Scott was talking about it, as he said.
Well,
here I am talking about it. So it must. The idea is, it's like the old say in Hollywood. There's no
bad press.
No bad press.
I got it. I got you. But she's proving that to be wrong. The truth is that is wrong.
Okay.
You can get bad press. You can unsell yourself.
Okay.
And
yes,
it may have worked for the bump. It may work for I need to get myself in the news today, right now. But to bring it up at the debate, when this is your opportunity, you've got a few words to speak here. You might get only 3 minutes, and you're going to talk about Twitter. I mean, just to me, that's a total fail, and I disagree with Scott entirely on.
Okay, good. Well, so I did too, because what about it was, yes, okay, it's all this talk. But we're talking about freedom of speech here. I mean, we're talking about, what do you mean ban him from Twitter?
Exactly.
This is the most stupidest thing I ever heard.
Exactly.
The President of the United States, look, there's a lot of reason you might ban people, and Twitter does.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people, they'll shadow ban them and do all this other kinds of stuff. But if you're gonna ban the President, I don't care if the President comes out with just a complete stream of the 7 words you cannot say and all. Don't ban him.
I'm with you. If there's one person that should be able to exercise their free speech
totally,
in this country,
I mean, really.
And this is, in a way, this is a format that is so innocuous. It's Twitter. All you have to do is not go on it. Yeah, and like Kathy Griffin this week was all pissed off because you saw the Kingsman video, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I mean that's a movie, okay, and all they did, it's not like they created a meme
No.
where they had Trump going around killing all these people. No, they just ripped off a movie and put various heads on the people.
Well, it was kind of like, remember that time they did during the campaign when he tackled the guy out of the wrestling?
Yeah,
thing?
yeah,
It
they
was
had
the
that.
same thing.
There's great one. There's the awesome one where he's dancing with the in the Arab dancing tradition thing.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, there's a fantastic dancing video of Trump, meme of him dancing like he's a winner. Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, I did see that one, right.
Yeah. And so, but this one, okay, it's whatever it is, but Kathy Griffin is literally crying on TV. And this is the woman who held up his severed head.
Right.
She's crying. It's like, what? No. If anybody gets to not object to that, it's you.
Right, exactly.
And nobody should object to that particular meme.
Right.
We're gonna touch on a lot of terrible ideas, terrible reactions to normal things on today's show. I can tell you that.
Okay, well, it is interesting because I did listen to some of the lefty stuff. I listened to, not Rachel Maddow, but I was Democracy Today, and some of the comments that were in on there, and of course they're just, they're still talking about the Russia thing,
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe that's put to bed. I couldn't believe people haven't raised it in the context of this Kurd thing. That is to say, look what Trump is doing for Putin. He's getting out of the way to let the Russians go in there and that kind of thing. It's like, what, you got something on Kurdistan?
I do.
You want to go to that now, or should I finish the
Finish
debate?
your thing.
Okay, well, we got a couple more things on the debate, just real quick. Tulsi, we talked about Tulsi a little bit. She's suing Google, right?
No.
Yeah, she's suing Google because after the first debate, she said they minimized her search term or something.
Okay.
And so she did a big tirade against them. And to me, her reaction is, she talks like she's going to be conservative or something, and then her reactions are always just go back to the state. It's just like, she doesn't like this pullout of Syria,
which is stunning.
Exactly. I mean,
she's the one that ran on.
Exactly. So
I mean, of all the people, she ought to know. She was there.
Right, and she can't say, well, this is good, we'll let them sort it out. And then we'll focus on other places.
There's a reason why.
Well, maybe so, but I mean, to me, and she literally said Trump has Kurd blood on his hands.
Okay.
Like, no, he doesn't. The worst you can say is he allowed it to happen. That's the worst you can say. You cannot blame our president for the deaths of people over there by the Turkish army. You just can't.
Okay.
You could say he could have prevented it, but you can't blame that on him, Tulsi. So, and then there were a bunch of people. Warren. Okay, so Warren's big thing from the debate. This was the biggest takeaway for me. If you listened closely to what Warren said, Bernie came out last week and said, "I'm different from Warren because she's a capitalist in her bones."
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, no, she's not.
No, she's not.
She's not. And here's your indication. She literally said in the debate that we are not going to get to the point of where we can pay for the services that she wants to implement, that she wants to implement, like free everything, without she said we're not going to get there by taxing income.
Okay.
The only way we're going to get there is by taxing wealth.
Okay.
She wants a capital tax.
Right.
She really believes that there's one pie of wealth, and that if there's a billionaire out there, there's a whole bunch of really poor people because of that billionaire. Because the billionaire has the money, other people don't have the money. She doesn't understand the whole wealth creation concept. She doesn't understand that there can be a billionaire here and another billionaire.
There was one on stage.
And another billionaire, and there's still, and then there's billions of people who are all consuming goods. And this is nothing. They all miss the whole concept of, they talk about the dangers of automation. Like, I mean, what a bunch of Luddites up there. They're all talking about how that's going to throw people out of work without even recognizing that as technology has increased throughout the millennia,
people have
going to work more and more and more,
The interesting thing I always like to look at is you look from the 20s and the 30s, and you look in the telephones switching when you have all these operators.
Right.
Hundreds of operators moving their little pins around.
Out of work today.
Yeah, right. Too bad.
Well, everybody talks about the whip makers and the buggy drivers, but it's everything. It is across the board in every industry.
Schumpeter called it out. He said this is called creative destruction.
That's right. And what gets created
is creative.
Right, exactly. And what gets created is more than what's get destroyed at the end.
It's called productivity increase.
Exactly. And it's like none of these people understand this. Beto doubled down on his taking your guns thing.
Did he?
Yeah, and he's getting called out today in the news.
Okay.
Even some of the news people are saying, "Well, what do you mean when you say take? When you say go get the guns? What are you really saying?" Booker wants a cabinet level position for reproductive rights.
Okay, we don't have enough cabinet people.
Apparently not. And
there used to be, like in Lincoln's time, I think there was like 7 cabinet positions.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Secretary of Poontang is what this is. What is going on? I mean, talk about...
You need that at a cabinet level position.
Seriously, man.
Reproductive
God.
What is that guy's office going to look like? Or girl?
Right.
Or cis person?
Or whatever, yeah. I mean, it's just the pandering, and Booker is... Clearly, he's out there like just throwing out big words like malfeasance, like when he doesn't quite know what, like he's not.
3 syllables.
Something seriously, Buttigieg to me still sounds like the smartest person on the stage, but he just looks too young or too cute or something.
That's what I heard somebody else said was if he was maybe Warren's vice president,
right,
8 years,
exactly,
and that would tune him up
exactly
to be president.
Yeah, and I could see that. But I mean, all these people with these terrible ideas. Even Mark Levin had a terrible idea this week. I know. Even
he's a warmonger. Jesus.
Well, but he came out against the press this week, talking about how they need to be investigated by antitrust because they're really a wing of the Democratic Party. And it's like, look, okay, you're right that they're all Democratic side. You're right that they're acting like that. But the solution is not a big, huge government breakup.
No, and they tried that already. I mean, with
the press.
Yeah, what they did is they tried it for a little while. They had the Fairness Act where they tried to.
Right.
That was for the radio stations where you had to come in and every time you had a Rush Limbaugh, you had to have some other loon.
Right.
And that lasted about a week.
Right. Or do we have a Democrat caller? We need a Republican caller now.
Yeah.
Well, it's just bizarro. Anyway, that's all I got for the debate. I mean, I'm still waiting for Hillary to.
Well, that's right, because today is the day.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, of course, there's rumblings abound. Rumblings abound. Let me just see here if I've got it. I wanted to. I'm going to come back to the Turkish thing in a minute.
Okay.
But the Mike Bloomberg.
Yes.
So this is interesting because Bloomberg keeps talking to allies, his allies, obviously, not about the people overseas.
Yeah.
About running for president as Joe Biden struggles against Elizabeth Warren. Now, of course, this would be great because Bloomberg versus Clinton in the debates or whatever it would be, you think about it, she's from New York and he's from New York and he's a billionaire and he can pay for everything. And so you'd have the battle would be, I guess, in Manhattan or something. But anyway, Bloomberg, the billionaire mayor of New York, indicated that he is, in recent weeks, that Biden's what he's thinking is, if Biden keeps struggling and maybe drops out, and there is some hint that Biden may drop out because funding dries up. Now, you look, they got 12 people up there. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody's after the same group of people to try and get money. But at some point, you know, you got to have millions, and you divide the donors up by 12 people. There's some people that are going to have to drop off. And the thinking is it might be Biden. And if he does, then Bloomberg says, well, then maybe I'll get in.
Right.
Well, of course, if he gets in, then maybe Clinton will get in.
Well, yeah. Well, to me, the Biden he's the linchpin in the dam. If he gets out, like you said, it's a feeding frenzy for his voters right then.
Boy, I tell
somebody needs to swoop in and say,
you know that. Let me tell you this. You know that they have already got the printouts. They've got the paper tapes. They've got the disk drives all sitting there just ready to be fired up to robocall all the donors.
Maybe so. You can whip that stuff up pretty quick these days.
I know you can. So anyway, he's rethinking his decision to stay out of the 2020 Democrat primary, and
somebody else needs to get in because I just think the whole field is flagging right now.
Right. Well, there are people that, I mean, I heard some people what I would call nonpartisan people. You know, they just said boring.
Right.
You know, none of them looked like their president.
Right.
You know, they said that Liz, you know, she inched up a little bit maybe, and there's a little bit of shuffling going. But you know, it's basically I'm looking at the 12 of them, and I don't mean it's like whack-a-mole, but there's a little up here and a little
I'll tell
down.
you what else Liz is getting called out for is the lying. She at this point, people are starting to say, "Look, answer the damn question about the tax raise."
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, she did fumble around that. I'll tell you.
She is still. She was told, "Do not say that. Don't you say it."
Yeah.
And she is stuck to her guns so far. But it's going to be too obvious. If I were Trump at the first debate, I would open up with in my opening statement. I would say, "We're going to hear a lot from Liz tonight. Let's see if we'll get an answer on her on our middle class tax raise. We'll see. I'll just point it out every time she doesn't say it, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
And then just in the middle of her
Slash.
stuff, exactly in the middle of her speeches. That's not an answer. That's not an answer. Just blurts it out.
He did that before. I mean, it was so great in the debate. No, not true.
Right, exactly. So not true.
Yeah, not true. Well, it's interesting because I didn't realize that Forbes estimates that Bloomberg's net worth is $51 billion.
Wow.
And he was planning to spend over $100 million on the campaign if he ran.
Yeah.
That's it. If he ran. Well, it's interesting to see. Of course, the Biden. It does appear that incrementally down. I mean, there hasn't been what I call the Vermont governor screen by anybody yet.
Yeah. No, not yet. But yeah. I mean, I'm surprised Bernie is still kicking up there.
He did. He's made sure that he was not going to have a heart attack on the stage. I mean, he was animated,
right,
and in your face,
right,
and the whole deal. So
yeah, maybe that's a bounce back. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I'm thinking, if
it's still October.
Right, it's still October. Well, the doctor was in the wings with a little needle, stuff like that. Little amphetamines or something, Okay, let me just see what else I've got here. Bloomberg. I want to see if I can get in order here.
Okay.
Something that actually matters.
I took us out of order.
No, it's okay. I got Bernie Sanders. You did this. She's a capitalist, through her so forth. Of course, which is a joke. She said, because she's not a capitalist, of course.
Right.
I'm going to move on to a couple of little things here, then maybe come back to Trump.
Okay.
A British. Now I want to ask you if something's not right here.
Okay.
I pulled this out because it sounded kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. A British family jailed after swerving to avoid an animal and ending up on a U.S. road. Now apparently this up in Vancouver, mm-hmm, and the border. Who knows what. A British couple and their 3-month-old son have been arrested in the United States after accidentally, crossing into the U.S. while on holiday in Canada. Mm-hmm. 30, wife 24, they swerved to avoid an animal while driving in Vancouver and ended up on an American road, and they're now being held at a Burke's detention center in Pennsylvania. Now, something doesn't smell right here, I can tell you right now.
Well, it's what it is it's the story itself. Well, I can tell you what's going on here.
Oh, okay, tell me. That's why I brought it up.
So what's happening is that they're trying to sneak in. And they go to a place where the roads are close by.
Okay.
And they've been told, if you get caught on the other side, just make up an excuse like you got lost or something.
Okay.
Because if you think about their excuse, if you swerve to miss an animal, well, you just go right by.
Yeah.
You just
right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
there.
Okay. Well, it's funny. I'm so naive. I didn't even think about that. I feel like an idiot.
Well, they put it out there as though you should believe it. I mean, the story makes it sound.
I
like
knew it smelled, but
exactly.
But you're the one that actually brought up okay, good point, because they were told they're going to be released into so forth and so on. Mm-hmm. But the thing that's kind of interesting is, and of course they bring out that they've been separated from their wives and children while they're. Apparently, what happened was they drove them straight to the airport, flew them into Pennsylvania for detention, and now they're going to be deported to where?
Wherever they
Canada?
came from. Yeah.
I mean,
probably.
I don't know. So, it's just from Britain. I would guess they're British family said.
Well,
we were on vacation and we just swerved into the United States. Yeah, right. Oh, I say we just swerved in there. You people drive on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Who was to know?
Right.
I saw all these people coming towards me and I just swerved.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking of jail, which Felicity Huffman.
Yes.
she turned herself in to begin her 14-day sentence over the college admissions. Now, I thought it was kind of interesting because we talked a little bit about this.
Yes.
But, you know, wondering, 14 days, give me a break. Well, I did see, 3, huh?
Yeah.
Out for good behavior.
Yeah,
well,
she'll be out before our next show.
Okay. Well, what? Okay. I'm glad you brought that up because here's what I was like. They showed a picture of where she has to stay.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
When I went to camp, it was worse than that. It was Mike. What? Let me put it this is no jail cell. This is a country club. This is like going to a really nice camp. It's not even like I don't know if she is going to have a roommate or not, but the point is that
was in a steel bed with
no. This was
the all-in-one toilet.
Let me tell you, this is
shower.
A really nice motel room, is what it is. I mean, they showed a picture, and they have the sink there with all the little toiletries.
Yeah.
The little
toiletries.
I'm serious.
Mini bar.
That's it. I am serious. I'm looking at this.
Well,
I'm
look,
thinking, even if you're there for 14 days, first of all, I doubt if there's going to be lockup. That is to say,
right.
She's probably going to be able to. Think about it. The people that are there. This is the absolute minimum detention.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And the other ladies that are there.
This is rich people.
Rich people. I mean, you're going to have a good. Let's go play some cards.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Right.
I mean, you got to be kidding me. So it's like, if the worst that could happen is a 2-week vacation in a motel room.
Yeah.
Where you get to go to somebody else's motel room, and I'm thinking, this is and it shouldn't have been.
Right.
That's the main thing.
Right.
So if this is what you're going to call a punishment, okay, fine, God bless you.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a punishment on paper or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's humiliating. It's terrible for her. It'll be awful. It'll be the worst thing in her life, probably.
They did say that the judge said, well, when you get out, you can move forward and rebuild your life after this.
Right.
You pay your dues.
Right.
Well, give me a break.
Yeah, so I got those dues right here.
Yeah.
So,
are you kidding me? Oh my God, I'm laughing at this.
Well, and like you said, that's the kind of thing it should be for that type of an allegation. What she, I mean, can you imagine even trying to describe this allegation like 100 years ago? Forthwith, the defendant moved to enter her child into a school to which she was unqualified. Yeah. In prison now, in the shackles.
That's right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
No, the dungeon with you on the rack.
Right. No, it's like, come on, man. They shouldn't. It should have been civil to begin with. So, but that's the way California treats their prisoners, especially their movie star prisoners.
Yeah.
And she'll be out in 3 days.
Okay.
Before the weekend.
For the weekend. That's right. Speaking of courts, though, I wanted to know something on this one. The Supreme Court rejected a challenge to public school coursework on Islam.
Yes.
The Supreme Court on Tuesday rebuffed an appeal from Christian former high school students who argued that homework on Islam at her Maryland school violated her First Amendment rights. Now here's what happened.
Oh God.
She'd been given. This is a public school, government-run school, and it had a state mandatory world history course. And as part of the class, you're required to do some coursework on Muslims.
Right.
The Muslim world, which is about Islam and so forth. She took issue with 2 parts of the class. A PowerPoint presentation that said the Muslim faith is stronger than the average Christians. And I'll tell you right now, that's true.
There's a billion of each. How many are we familiar with?
But how many people go and commit suicide bombing because of their faith?
Well, I think.
And how many people go into the editorial place in some magazine and hack people's heads off because of a cartoon? And
but I think those aren't the average. Those are the radicals.
I know, but they bring the average up. see, listen to me. That's what I'm telling you.
I think you could look around and you could find plenty of Christians who did the kind of stuff. I mean, look, it's a silly argument to make, but either way, what's even sillier is that she's objecting to this as homework.
Well, the other thing is, of course, she had a fill-in-the-blank worksheet, and she had to write, "There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah." Now, more than likely, the question was, what is a basic tenet of the faith? That kind of. You're just writing down the answer.
What do you believe?
No.
And it must be this answer.
Right. And what's her name say when she was, the queen of the queen that got her head cut off.
Right, let them eat cake.
Let them eat, fill in the blank,
That's
cake.
right, exactly. I
So-
don't like cake, so I don't want to put that on my
So she
homework.
said her First Amendment rights have been violated.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that the U.S. Circuit Appeals decided. Apparently, what happened was the first court they went to before they went to the Supreme Court was that they said they laughed her out of the place.
trial court,
Yeah,
right.
the trial court, whatever it is, the appeals
the
court or
appeals-
whatever it was. They said they hooted her out of there. Look,
Right.
this is nothing. So they took it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said we're not listening to this. And that's basically what they said is they remanded it back to their.
Right, and they should have.
And they should.
Everybody needs to go back and read Justice Black, who laid out the constitutional foundations or restrictions or underpinnings for the education system. And the bottom line is that as a student, you have no rights.
Okay.
You do not have the right to freedom of speech. That's why the teacher can tell you to be quiet.
Uh-huh.
And you do not have the right to go wherever you want. The teacher can tell you to sit down or to go to the office. There's restrictions on everything you can do. School is like being in a second home.
Well, that's why they call them not ad litem, they call them
in loco parentis.
In loco parentis. Right?
Exactly. And
Loco being the word.
yeah, exactly. But it basically means you're just at somebody else's house, and you got to abide by
Their rules.
the teacher's
Right.
rules as though they're the adult and you're the child. You have no rights now. So this should have been laughed out the entire way,
Right.
And they should have chucked it out and said, "Go do your damn homework, kid, and suck it up." But I mean, this to me seems like almost a money grab or something.
I was going to say, yeah.
But the reason this even can be brought up at all is because of the distortion that we have right now, due to the fact that the schools are all owned by the state.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have an argument at all if it was a private school.
Yeah.
She couldn't say anything. But because it's a state actor, the Constitution prohibits the state from doing certain things, and that gives her the basis for the potential lawsuit. That's why it didn't get thrown out in the very, very beginning for failure to state a claim.
Okay.
But so eventually we're going to have, and we've seen these types of little challenges here and there, and it's all because of the fact that the schools are all owned by the states.
Right.
As soon as they sell off all the schools,
Which we're hoping for.
and they eventually will. They'll have to give up eventually and do that. And other places have done that, and we'll follow suit hopefully soon. But when that happens, then nobody will even try this stuff.
Then we'll be able to get an education like they did back before the people that wrote the Constitution were all educated,
Yeah, well, the internet is.
Yeah,
the
right.
thing.
The internet. Well, that's right. That's not all. I thought it was interesting. There was something else just recently that came up that they started to move onto the internet. Had to do with an education. I'll think of it later. But anyway, moving on. Another New York guy. No, this guy's from Connecticut. Richard Blumenthal.
Okay.
Richard Blumenthal announces he's a senator from Connecticut. So it's all up in that little area up there. He wants to make threatening reporters a federal crime. No, wait, seriously, look at this. He is reintroducing a bill that he made last year, would make it a federal crime to attack or threaten, quote, anyone doing fact gathering or news operations, including reporters, photographers, and book authors.
Yeah.
Citing threats, violence against journalists, the senator proposed a bill making threatening or attacking anyone who is doing a gathering or news operation a federal crime. There's a segment of the population that doesn't like the press, and they express it verbally in threats. And also at the extreme, they do it, do it physically. So what it is, and sometimes they intimidate the press people gathering, they'll get them.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
And that's actually the key word.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, you just came up with it. It's not in the report, but that's the key word. And I'll tell you what's going on here with this.
Okay.
This is some fool's overreaction to what's been going on in the news, and they think they have to solve it. First of all, everybody should realize that it's already illegal to assault a person
Right.
who is doing some fact gathering or whatever, because you can't assault anybody.
Right. Yeah.
So the only way that this law could differentiate from current law is if it expanded the definition of what an attack was, what an assault was. And what he's trying to do, I can almost guarantee it, is he's trying to put the word intimidation into the statute somewhere, so that somebody can infer that some act or another was meant to intimidate them, and therefore it's illegal because it's assault.
Question. This goes back to the guy pointing the gun at the lady on the porch, doesn't it?
In some ways, yeah. I mean, the assault is the same everywhere, and it should be. And that
Unless
is
it's a pepper.
yeah. Unless it's Himalayan.
Okay.
But it should be the same everywhere. But this is an attempt to expand it. As somebody, people often do every once in a while, they'll say, oh, this particular category of people has a different definition for assault. And this is, I guarantee you, this is what this guy is saying. He's trying to make it so that reporters can go and do stuff. And then if somebody post something online like I hate you or you suck or whatever, they can try to get that person arrested by saying that that person is doing violence against the reporter. They're intimidating them against this law. You don't have to expand it. You don't have to do anything like that because it's already been written into the law for hundreds of years. The courts are very good at figuring out whether or not you're attacking somebody. And it doesn't have to do with, it's not words. There has to be some overt action and some ability to carry it out. That's why we thought the hand thing was so ridiculous, is because there's no real ability to carry it out there, but they use a subjective test for the assault, which is does the person feel like they were threatened? I know it's
Well, that's of course that's one of the problems we got here on campus. Of course, is everybody that is all the snowflakes are insulted. When you're not doing it, you don't mean to. You walk through, and look this way. He looked at me funny.
And this came up in another context this week. When last week they had the town hall, the LGBTQ town hall, and Castro was standing up on the stage.
Okay.
And some trans woman stood up, and the announcer said, "This is Larisha or whatever," and she said, "No, it's Lachey." Or whatever her name was, she said, and get it right because misnaming a trans person is violence.
Okay.
Now,
she's the one that they tried to. She kept talking and talking and talking.
I didn't see.
Apparently, she went on and on for a while, and they let her talk for a while, and finally they had to, okay, that's enough.
Right. Well, the person was always there to get press,
right,
do whatever. But the point is that they were totally overreading the statute of what an assault is or what violence is. Violence is not calling somebody by the wrong name. Violence is not calling somebody by the wrong pronoun. Violence is moving towards them in a way that anybody would infer that you're about to kick their ass. That's what violence is, or actually doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
And that's it. So.
Well, of course, in England or in Britain, I think, hate speech is.
Well, I know they try to expand it.
Yeah.
But they're in the quicksand right now.
Right.
Because there's no way you can differentiate between hate speech and speech that can be inferred as hate speech.
Right.
So I mean, you can name anything and say, "No, he said I was a nice guy," but in a way that I know that he hated me.
Yeah,
right.
He was
then.
being sarcastic, and that hurt me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, where do you stop at that point?
You don't. So anyway, but I thought Blumenthal's bill would carry a punishment for up to 6 years for any attack that led to the serious bodily injury of a news gatherer. Okay, I understand that. Yeah, but it should be 6 years anyway.
It already is.
Doesn't, I was going to say, it doesn't. You don't even have to be a news gatherer. You just be a person.
Exactly.
And somebody comes up and whomps and seriously bodily injures you. Yeah. They're going to jail
for 6 years.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, I just thought that one of these things that one of the things that I look at on this that makes it so stupid is now all of a sudden we have a new protected group.
Right, that's another thing. See, this is the protected group thing is at the pinnacle of the pendulum swing right now, and everybody's trying to define these protected groups. We had. There's the whole debate about the trans athletes right now, and Scott Adams did a big thing about it again this week.
Yeah.
The pronoun thing, it's so ridiculous. I'll tell you how ridiculous it is. During the town hall, right?
Yeah.
Kamala Harris comes out and says, my pronouns are she, her, hers, or whatever.
Yeah.
So Cuomo, who is on stage with her doing the interview, just reactively, he says, oh, so are mine. Okay?
Okay.
He's making a joke.
Oh, okay, right. Okay?
But what's the joke? The joke is whatever you're saying is such a joke. all I'm going to do is repeat it, and it's a joke. Like, we all know this is a joke, this pronoun thing.
Oh, okay.
But he's on the stage at the event.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm getting at is that here's a guy who wants to be an ally so bad, Cuomo. He wants to be, that he's hosting the event. And yet he in himself can't help but instinctively react with absurdity to this somebody suggesting that they have pronouns.
Right. Well, this is the same thing that happened in the thing that was a couple of weeks or a month or so ago, where they were having the Social Democrat get together, and somebody said, "You guys," and of course they blew up. I object to. What the hell, you know?
It's just like, man, grow up, y'all.
Yeah,
everybody grow up.
All right, I'm gonna another Supreme Court item here.
Sure.
And I don't know if you got this. The Supreme Court Monday rejected a bid by Domino's Pizza to avoid a lawsuit by a blind man who accused the company of violating a law barring discrimination against people with disabilities. What had happened is they just declined to hear it. What happened was a lower court ruling allowed the lawsuit to go ahead by this guy Guillermo, and he was invoking the American with Disabilities Act. And his problem was, he said that the mobile app or whatever, when he tried to go online a couple times to order a pizza, he was unable to get through, or not, it didn't take it right or something like that. And so he was basically he said that because the site screwed up. What?
No, keep going.
So anyway, what I thought was too interesting here, on 2 occasions he was unable to order a pizza because the screen reading software he uses did not work properly. Well, it sounds like that's not a Domino's problem.
Right.
Number one. But Domino's got money, so we sue them.
Yeah.
And so he said. Title III of the law requires that disabled people be able to access buildings open to the public, including restaurants. Now, this is from his phone in his home, and it's and what the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is our liberally one out there, ruled in January that the Domino's website and app were effectively extensions to its brick and mortar buildings where the pizzas are made. Yeah, well, not exactly.
Well, look, I'm going to say that they are in theory, but that this law is just bad. This is yet another law which separates out a class of people and says you have special rights, and other people have to do special things because in order to make you as equal as everybody else in terms of your access to whatever. So it's like you said, there's this guy's software. What he's claiming is that they didn't build their website well enough according to specs, or his software would have worked just fine.
Right.
And so it's their fault.
Yeah.
But I mean, to me, this is another example of the universe owes you nothing. And I'm sorry, the guy's blind. That sucks for him. But don't go suing people because they didn't figure out a way to get you their product. Trust me, if they could figure out a way to get you their product, they would do it.
Are you kidding? They're not in business to not give you a product.
Exactly.
Their blind person's money is as good as anybody's.
It's literally their profit motive to get you this pizza.
And it's not like the guy couldn't have called up.
Well, yeah, whatever it was, obviously
he was online.
This is a super technical application of this law, and another money grab as far as I'm concerned.
So anyway, what they did is they turned it back to the lower court and said you can go ahead with that Guillermo can go ahead with the suit. Now, who knows what the court's going to rule?
Right.
I don't have any idea.
We'll see.
Okay, we're talking still about a little news here.
Sure.
I thought this was kind of interesting. The disinformation. On ABC, they were talking about the slaughter of the Kurds.
Yes.
That they had been unleashed. The Turks had been unleashed.
This was great.
And the Kurds, they were in there just whacking the Kurds like the Kurds don't know how to fight. You have to understand one thing that's very important here.
Yeah.
Is number one, the Kurds are fighters.
Yes.
You know, the women Kurds will kill you.
Yes.
I mean, these people really, they've been doing this for 1,000 years. So anyway, here they show this video of the horrible Turks wading in.
Yes.
Because the 1,000 troops, our troops had gone out of there.
Yeah.
And wading in and slaughtering them.
And the video was hideously
hideous. Unfortunately,
the
the video was the video shared on ABC purporting to show Turkish forces bombing the Syrian Kurds was actually footage of a night machine gun demonstration at Knob Creek Gun Range in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here thinking, now to their credit, somebody called them up and said, hey,
man, I was there.
Yeah, I was there, right. Do I get more of my veterans benefits?
Yeah, and this to me is just shows you how far off the cliff the mainstream media has gone.
Yeah.
Here's ABC News. I mean, when I was a kid, that was journalism.
Right.
And now it is obviously news stories.
Yeah.
You know, it's
you have to fill up that 24 hours.
It's a story sort of based on the news.
Well,
it starts with news.
It's what they call
It's
what
a
he used
news framing or something.
Yeah, what John, what's his name, used to call it truthiness.
Yeah, the truthiness of it is lacking, and this is amazing. And then of course you saw the other thing, which was the Zucker interview came out this week.
No, what was that?
A whistleblower at CNN came out with a recorded conversation of Zucker.
Well,
who is the CEO.
This was the Veritas group.
Okay,
I think it was. Those are people.
Yeah.
They've
Project
done a lot
Veritas.
Of, they've done a lot of. They made their claim to fame when they sent the guy in with the hooker to try and get some rooms from the.
Oh right, or was that O'Keefe? Or I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was O'Keefe.
Okay,
and of course that made a big. Of course, and so anyway, they do this kind of stuff, and here it is. Got in there, and this is all you can tell. This is undercover recording.
Mm-hmm.
But the simple fact is that Zucker said, "This is not Zuckerberg.
No,
this is Zucker. This is
Jeff Zucker.
Jeff, whatever from CNN.
Yeah."
And what was the meme was this was about the impeachment from now on?
Yeah, from the impeachment.
It doesn't matter what the news is out there, blow up this, mass killing, but the headline on all the news stories, impeachment.
Right. The Inquisition!
That's right. Wherever the Spanish Inquisition.
That's right, exactly. Well, yeah, so news is, man, it's crazy.
I mean, but they you call them out, I'll tell you. Now, speaking of which, I'm moving on here, just
sure,
because I'm coming back a little bit to the Donald Trump and the Syria thing. Donald Trump calls it, and this is brilliant, calls the Turkish invasion of Syria a strategically brilliant for the U.S. as he slams the Kurds as no angels and says there's a lot of sand they can play with. It's not our problem. And I love that. I mean, go pound sand. And I've always said, I have said this all the time. It's not my problem. If you guys want to fight it out over there over some godforsaken sand dune or whatever it is, not my problem.
Yeah, I'm with you. And of course, immediately the Kurds made a deal with the Syrians, apparently.
Well, not only that, what's happened is, and anybody will tell you, the Russians are coming in now. They've decided to go into the quagmire.
The Russians.
This is the
aha! It was all Putin's idea.
That's right. Well, this is
Trump's just bowing.
I guess they said the thing that is so funny about this is they got a lot of sand there, and I'm guessing this is like quicksand. Once the Russians should have learned this from Afghanistan. When finally one of our senators or whatever started sending out the Stinger missiles because they had those giant helicopters that were wiping out the Afghanis or whatever, and then suddenly we sold them missiles that take those big hedgehog, whatever they call them, the huge helicopters, and so they left. They hightailed it back to Ruski. Well, that was back when they were the Soviet Union. Anyway, so they lost that. But the point being that now they're going to, now Russia has decided, because they're friends with Syria, and they've decided to come in and say, okay, we'll help you, we'll save you, whatever it is. So as far as I'm concerned, get our boys out of there as fast as you can, and because otherwise you're going to have NATO countries fighting NATO countries or something.
Yeah, look, if somebody can articulate a reason why we're there and a goal and an end game.
An end game is the key.
Then articulate away. But I haven't heard that in about 20 years at this point.
No.
And keeping the peace is not good enough.
Well, that's what was it? That was what we talked about this on Sunday. That the head of the Turkish guy came out and said, "This
is my peace bomb.
This is my peace bomb. we're in there to keep the peace."
That's it.
Oh my God!
We're going to make peace.
So I thought it's, let's see, what is it? Trump then cast Syria as a potential quagmire for Russia, which makes sense, or quicksand, I say. And he thought their assisting the Kurds was a good thing. Russia went into Afghanistan, and when it was back in the Soviet Union, they had to get booted out of there. And Trump said, you can overextend. Well, it's about time somebody realized that.
Seriously.
I mean, you talk about, bases in 160 countries or whatever the hell it is. Yeah, and, we're 22 trillion.
250,000 troops worldwide, last time I checked.
I mean, you talk about it, overextended. Pfft. So if I'm glad he said it, I don't know if he's going to follow through.
Yeah,
so,
we'll see. And then, of course, simultaneously put 3,000 troops in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, boy, and that was one of the reasons that Osama bin Laden took out the building, or ostensibly, was that once we beat the other guy back, we didn't hoof it out of Saudi Arabia.
That was the reason for 9/11. There's no mistaking it. In his 2-page manifesto, Osama bin Laden said it was the 600,000 people, the women in particular, that in military uniform who were not conforming to Islamist code.
Right.
On the Saudi Arabian Peninsula,
right,
and that was the reason. It was an insult to everything for us to do that, and so here we go.
So here we go, right?
Well, so I don't know what are we going to do? Go down and fight in Yemen or something? I mean, what?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Why does Saudi Arabia need 3,000 of our troops?
It's a good question. And of course, the other thing is, why do we even need to be? They're out there. Of course, what's interesting is
get out there.
They're trying to pound the hell out of the Houthis or whatever it is, and they're obviously not doing very well at that. So
whatever. Buy some more arms.
Yeah,
we'll sell you some weapons.
We will sell you airplanes.
That's it.
To beat the band. And by the way, we'll sell some of the Houthis too. Hey, no problem.
Gotta make it fair.
One of the last things I have here, before you can get on to stuff, and this is just kind of a local thing we've talked a little bit about before. The Illinois red light cameras have collected more than $1 billion from drivers in the last 10 years. $1 billion. Now, it's interesting.
Holy shit!
$1 billion from Illinois drivers. Now, I meant to send it over here to you, but they had a piece of paper up there where they showed Indiana and Illinois. Illinois is like $15 billion in the hole. In the hole. That's how broke they are. Indiana has like a $15 million reserve.
Okay.
That is, they got money they can withdraw on. They're next to each other, right here, And
look at the big cities.
Well, you say that, but I mean, of course, Chicago and everything. I understand that, but the thing is that even with the red light cameras, $1 billion in 10 years. And what's happened is, I thought it was interesting the way they.
Well, Barack Obama fixed up Illinois, didn't he?
Yeah, right.
Before he left.
Well, he knows he hoofed it out of there. It's one of his 3 homes, not in Illinois.
Yeah.
We're going to Hawaii and Washington, D.C.
But not only that, but like the last 3 governors are in prison.
Yeah, right. Hell yeah. But I think it's the red light. What's happened is, and this is all Illinois, what has happened is that the cities outside of Chicago have all gotten the message. And in the last 10 years, their revenue from red light cameras has gone up by about 10 times, which added to this billion. And it turns out, interestingly enough, in some of the little tiny cities that are right on the outskirts of Chicago have gotten rid of their red light cameras. The number actually has dropped a little bit of the ones that are inside this urban area, but out in the little cities, they're really raking it in. And it's interesting because when you think about when you have to when you realize that the way that you have to keep the red light cameras in, because it pisses people off like you can't imagine.
Sure.
But why do they keep them in there until I guess the pitchforks and
until they get sued? What's going to happen is what happened here, which is we had enough people get pissed off enough, and they sue them, and they basically turn it around and say, look, you're doing this just for revenue.
Right.
There is no safety component here.
Right. Well,
and undermines the authority for it, ultimately.
That's what this came out was a study that had been done by somebody that said, no, you're not saving any lives. We've done all this before. $1 billion in 10 years, and they're still.
It's a tax, and it's an unconstitutional way to do it. That's not what you do.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that, as I say, the pitchforks and firebrands haven't come out because here. What happened here when we had them, or in other places that I've seen in California and so forth, there are two groups that really want to keep these in. One, since all the red light cameras are farmed out, that you hire a company to come in and they say, we'll install it for you, we'll do the upkeep, and then we'll get past the money, less small brokerage fee, pass it on to you. How good, you don't have to do anything. We'll do it all for you.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, it's a boon, for those people, but it's just again, it's not right. We shouldn't have highwaymen. We shouldn't have just a system out there where the government the king sends out knights to basically just accost random citizens and shake them down for cash, which is what
I always like the one. I should bring it over here. I've been going through my old Hagar cartoons, and they always have the guys, the tax collectors are always with the black hoods and the things, and we've come over here to collect back taxes, and he says, what, I paid? No, this is on your back. We have a back tax.
right.
So anyway, they're always doing that.
Tax. Yeah.
Okay, I've got one more thing.
Okay.
And this is kind of a little light note. Sex robots will be difficult to tell from humans in as little as a couple of years, according to a leading manufacturer. And the name of the manufacturer is called 1AM Dolls. Okay, President Brent Lawson told the Daily Star that his company they offer more than 30 bodies and 100 different face options. And he said they give the customers a chance to customize their female, male, or transgender dolls before they build their new fantasy partner. But incredibly, Brent believes that the AI technology is evolving so rapidly that sex robots are on course to match humans for their realism in just a couple of years.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it depends how much you've had to drink.
That's true, because
1 a.m.
That's 1 a.m. That's exactly right. Well, they say when you view the girl through the bottom of your beer glass, there's a distortion that just makes it look like it. But the other thing, I love this. The AI author says robot politicians will replace humans in the White House, and of course they're kind of like robots anyway.
Right.
So once you have to ask yourself, like data, and the thing was trying to get treated like a human. He had rights or whatever, because they're trying to dismantle him in that one episode. But so when these robots, you see the what was that one? Not her. Was it her? The one where she got loose. She killed all the people, and then she was loose in the streets.
Yeah, that was the Ex Machina.
Ex Machina. Yeah. Whoa. So.
Well, but that's not going to happen.
What?
What I keep telling people is that the machines don't have any innate desire, so it has to be all programmed.
Yeah. So you program in a desire. Kill you. I kill you.
Yeah. Well, and somebody will do that eventually at some point. We'll see. Okay, that's all you got?
Yeah, I got it.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Let's see. I got a couple of little things here. Let's see. We did speaking of automation, did you notice that Target, I think it's out west, is cutting back hours for people?
I saw that. Not only that, the people, needless to say, because of the minimum wage.
Exactly.
And what happened is this one girl was complaining. She says, I used to work 40 hours a week. Now I'm working 20. Yeah, I'm getting more money, but I'm not getting any more. I'm getting less money.
Right.
I don't know how I'm going to eat, because basically, I was getting 10 or 11. Now I'm getting 15. But now instead of working 40 hours, I'm working 20 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm losing, I think she said something like $200 a week or something.
Right.
She was, so there you have it.
And that's all you can do is get a second job. But it was interesting. Beto introduced somebody who had 4 jobs this week. And of course, a lot of responses were like, yeah, sure, 4 jobs. And then other people were like, yeah, it's true. I had 4 jobs, and of course the mismatch is, of course, well, how long were your jobs? You didn't have 4 40-hour-a-week jobs. I guarantee it. Okay?
No.
Because that only leaves you 9 hours to sleep for the whole week.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have a job here that requires about 2 hours, maybe an average of about an hour a day,
right,
for typing up invoices.
Right, and that's what they're talking about.
Right.
Obviously,
and
if you've got 4 jobs, I guarantee you one of those jobs is less than 10 hours. Probably 2 of them are less than 10 hours.
Oh yeah, for sure. And they could very well be not jobs that you actually have to go anyplace. I mean, I just I do this in my room.
Yeah. So anyway, but still, that was the solution to the automation problem.
Right.
Raise the minimum wage. What? Like what? No, that'll have the opposite effect. Tax robots was another one that I heard.
Yeah. Tax robots.
Oh God! You robot, pay up.
Pay up, right?
And then,
well, you put them in jail if they don't pay up.
Yeah, right.
Robot jail.
Yeah, exactly. Make them work for free.
Yeah.
And then Venezuela, in order to help its current situation a little bit more, has again raised the minimum wage.
Really?
Yes.
I
think they're up to $15 a week or a month. A month. It said it's. Now I couldn't believe it. I wrote it down with a question mark because I was like, really? That's the median.
Well, this is like in bolivars, right?
Yes.
So like 22 million bolivars or something.
Yeah, but it translated $15 a month, according to this article.
Well, be still my beating heart.
Yeah, exactly. And the chicken is $4 over there still.
Yeah.
So you get 4 chickens per month with all of your money. So it's fixed. It's doing
You're right. Yeah.
That's right. California mandates school hours.
Really?
Yeah, they basically made it so that no school can open before 8 a.m.
Okay.
So, and because there was a study that said that kids are too tired.
You're right. Okay. No.
During the day.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
So now, I guess they get to stay up later, and still.
I don't know,
not
but I
get
mean,
enough sleep.
so they're not differentiating between kindergarten and 12th grade.
Well, apparently not, and or private and public.
Right. Yeah. How can they do that on the private schools?
I don't know. Now I'm not sure about that. So I could be
say because I remember they didn't have, and when I went to a private school, they didn't have any problem having my butt come in there on study on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, you got to like my thought about this is one size does not fit all.
No.
Especially for something like
it doesn't even one size doesn't even fit all in a single classroom.
Seriously, this is I don't know 5 million students or something.
Right. Yeah.
God. And like and the way they have it all staggered. I remember when I learned about the Gainesville plan. It was middle school at this time, and then high school, and then the other school, and then it was all so that you could get home and the kids released it. It was just like, look, just let the market figure it out. Like they'll figure it out. If you think it's difficult, don't worry.
Because the thing that I objected to here was when they have all this staggering business and everything, is that the school zone lights come on 24/7 practically. I mean, they're on all the time now, just about.
Yeah. Well,
you go out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2:30 in the afternoon. What blinking lights? Speed limit drops from 40 to 15.
Well, and what's really funny is that they start the school blinking lights about 15 minutes before the school actually lets out.
Right.
So I guess they're anticipating some kids just getting up 15 minutes before and just running out of the classroom before it's over.
Well, the other thing you have to ask yourself on some of this stuff is how long do they let the light blink until they figure everybody's gone? Well,
right.
What if they're not gone? I mean,
right. Well, yeah. I mean, to me, whatever. All right, and then the final thing I got here, right on time, is Trump's legal team.
Okay.
So there was some word about maybe he was going to hire Trey Gowdy.
Yeah. Okay. No, but he doesn't have to wait some.
I don't know. All I know is they were talking about Trey, and then Rudy's being investigated now.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the deal, Trump. If you're listening, because I know you got some secret people watching the show.
That's right.
So you need to fire Rudy and Trey, okay, and hire Dershowitz, okay? Trust me on this, all right? Get a real defense lawyer in there who can really defend you and give you definitive answers every freaking time.
Yeah.
And kick their butts. Trey couldn't nail down freaking Hillary in 11 hours.
Oh, man, yeah.
He asked 50 questions he didn't know the answer to.
I mean, it wasn't only that. I mean, the thing that got me was he somehow, in that time, he couldn't frame the questions to get an answer. Now, I will say she was as slippery as an eel. She was
good at it, but she was just a well-prepared witness. You still could have I could have nailed her down in an hour, maybe 2 tops.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I was sitting there going through as he's asking the questions. I'm like, no, not that. This, don't ask that. And he would just ask these open-ended questions. Well, explain that. Or whatever. And she's like, no, shut up. Like, it was the worst cross-examination. And it shows he's a prosecutor because he doesn't know how to cross-examine crap.
Okay.
And they're okay at the direct examination. That's what they practice all the time.
Right,
the direct.
right, but
they don't worry about the cross.
No.
They just, okay, get the information out there and let it go. It's just, but no. He sucks. So anyway, that's that. So, all right. That is about us.
Right on time.
Yep.
Good deal.
About it.
We're having fun now.
Yep. Yep. And so
Now, at some point in time, you're going to have to change that, our logo up there where it says GMT -5 or something.
oh yeah, does Greenwich switch?
No, we do.
We still do?
We switch on November 3rd or something.
Oh, okay.
We go into standard time on November 3rd.
Dang it.
That's fall back, so.
Bust my old memo.
Yeah, that's right. You're gonna have to change.
I think I can do
then
it.
it will be at -4 or -6. I forget which way it's gonna do on us on GMT.
All right, well, I'll do that. Well, thanks, Kevin MacLeod, for these tracks. We really appreciate it. I wanted to mention the deep fakes thing, too. Just one line, really. They've got all the deep fakes. People worried about. I saw an article that said, you won't be able to, it'll tear society apart because you won't be able to tell what people are really saying. And I'm thinking, it'll make people more circumspect. You'll have to question everything.
Yeah.
When you see Donald Trump saying, you'll have to go, well, I need to see a verifying another angle of that or whatever. You won't just trust everything you see anymore. I think it'll be better, personally. But whatever. Next week.
Next week, yeah.
I'm Council Curtis. This is Jimmy Doane Show. Thanks, Scott, Roy. Oh, we would take a phone caller, but we haven't got that set up yet. We'll work on that, and we'll see. This has been the Jimmy Doane Show. I'll post a copy of this up on YouTube and Twitter shortly. See ya.